My name is Henry Ignacio Padrón-Morales.
My name is Pamela Bailie.
And I am co-owner
And I am the co-owner
of Hipocampo Children's Bookstore.
Hipocampo, it's a Spanish word for hippocampus, which is a region of the brain that is responsible for learning.
Memory, emotions.
We use the hippo as our logo.
As well as a nightclub down the street from where I grew up in the Bronx, which was called Hipocampo, and it was a very well-known Latin music salsa nightclub.
We are located in Rochester, New York, and our mission is really to reflect the children, the languages, the cultures of Western New York.
Rochester has over 63 linguistic cultural groups attending our schools. So we have books that are from the Arabic-speaking groups, from the Africa linguistic cultural groups, from the Spanish-speaking groups. I had recently a dad come in with his family, and they're talking about they wanted a dictionary because they want to learn English. I said, wait. I ran over to a shelf and pulled out a Tigrinya English dictionary. They're from Ethiopia. This fellow was like flabbergasted. How do you do this? How can this be? I'm like, that's what we do, my brother.
You want to make one? Sure. All right. Okay, so we always stayed in the story because that's what it looked like to me. It was amazing. Mom, said Milo, how long can we stay out here so you're not late for your meeting?
I love this space.
That meeting already started, Captain, and I made it.
If I could have told you what I would want in a bookstore, this space would be what I would have wanted in a bookstore.
Yes.
You know, it's brick and mortar walls,
You look up and there's a tin ceiling.
hardwood floors, and the fact that it's an old space, I love it. Of course, like anything, all your loves, they're always going to have limitations too. So, you know, we're growing programs, we're growing events, and we only have so much room. I think back and I think how many things we've actually used this space for. We have had author visits, Saturday morning story time, classes, Spanish classes, craft making classes, music, dancing.
For us, community is a critical component of what we want to do because it will be what roots us. We're not happy because we're a great bookstore. We're happy because we're a great community entity that has a bookstore.
Hipocampo has books that I would have loved to have read as a kid.
I think the great thing is there's such a wide variety of Kit's books. And so Kit can look at the things that he already likes, like dinosaur books, but then he can also explore and find new things.
Sort of turning him loose is really nice and just saying, like, whatever you find that looks interesting, I think it'll be a great book because they're so careful about what they put on the shelf and so thoughtful about it.
I often come in with the excuse that I'm going to buy things for my kids, and I just end up buying a whole stack of books for myself. My kids love it because we can get bilingual books, and especially literature on being multicultural and being proud of that.
I believe my first camp was the Spanish camp. I got to learn more about like the language, and it was a really fun experience.
It's just a great place.
There's something here for everyone.
Yee.
The Spanish one has got to be a 22 because it's the translation of, well, both of them.
Yeah, these
Because
are
they're
all,
both Spanish.
none of these are released until next week.
Right,
So
so
they're
that's how
all
new they
brand
are.
new, yeah. So they can't really be put out on it. Hello, Hipocampo Children's Books. We're open until 7 today. Okay, no problem. Thanks. Bye.
And then I'll post it, hanging out, waiting for you.
That's good. I would say out of the two of us, Henry is by far much more outgoing than I am. I tend to focus more on kind of what's happening within the bookstore, on inventory and the kinds of stories that we're going to have in here.
I am the person who's out there talking, presenting. Pamela is what I am, but she's also the business, the tech understanding person. And I think that we bring those two together, we have what we have going here. I was born in 1952. I was born in Brooklyn, New York. I grew up in the Bronx. We would play Ringolevio, slugs. Stickball is one in particular that we played a lot. One summer we counted how many windows across the street were broken. You'd hear whack, the ball hit, crash, the whole corner would empty, come back in 10 minutes, do it again. I mean, these are like street games. My family, my mother was a singer and a poet. I don't know how she had the memory to do these mega poems during family get-togethers. I mean, stanza after stanza after. It was like, I was in awe. How could she remember all this?
I was born in Northern Ireland, but I didn't live there for very long. My father's family is Northern Irish, and my mother's family is French, English, and Turkish. Eventually, after some traveling around, our family moved to Northern California. We did not have much money, and I think I don't know if we call it escape, but it was like another space to be, was in reading. I would read so much that when I get in trouble, my mother would ground me from reading, which I think is so funny today. But at the time, I was not happy about it. And I would sneak a book into the bathroom to try to read a little bit, and she wouldn't catch me. Growing up in a family that was multicultural itself, I was always fascinated by like folklore. I was fascinated by the stories, but then I was even more fascinated by the fact that so many of the stories were similar to each other, even though they're completely different cultures. The way that these stories could show us the interconnectedness of the world, I loved that.
Growing up, my school wasn't teaching me about being a Latino, Puerto Rican young person. There were no Spanish books in my school, pre-bilingual programs. You can then fall into the booby trap of believing the narrative that's been created about you. You watch a movie, and what are the Latinos and Latinas in the movie? Antagonists, the problem. Who are the superheroes? In my lifetime, the superheroes were not people of color. No, that doesn't happen till, years later.
Nowadays, we're finding more people that are writing from their own perspective, and I'm loving it.
Something I just really love about the story is that it's very inclusive and just has a lot of things that I didn't have growing up.
This is a celebration of Latinx writers, Black writers, LGBTQ writers, and we need more of that.
One book that we bought for him was a book about a girl that has curly hair. And for him, I thought it was great just because, his mother has very curly hair. He is going to have curly hair. And I just wanted him to know that it's okay to be different, it's okay to be unique, and to embrace what he has, what other people have.
It's very important to have representation, especially in our country, where there's so much diversity, but it's not always celebrated.
I had known Henry for a while. He taught at the school my children went to. I had mentioned something about how I'd always wanted to have a bookstore. And then he said, really? I always wanted to have like a bookstore arts community center.
It starts now becoming, as I'm closer to retirement, let's try a bookstore, a children's bookstore.
It took 2 years to write our business plan. It was not a short thing. And there was a lot of talking and a lot of dreaming, and there were some dreams that were way too big.
In the meantime, I had a friend who said, you're going to open up a bookstore? Why would you open up a bookstore when people all go shop at, I won't say the name of the place? How can you compete with that? And I would say, we're not trying to compete with them. And they can't compete with us. So, boom, it gets to the point now where we have to convert this from what it was to what it is. That demanded painting walls, tearing down all these things and reinventing them. That energy from the very beginning, I feel, is still here.
We were supposed to open in 2018, but there was a government shutdown. And so our business loan was put on hold for a little while.
A couple months later, the government shutdown ends. We're feeling, wow, finally.
April 20th was going to be our full year, and we had a plan to have a year birthday party.
And what happens? COVID hit us.
Neither of us looked at it necessarily like, oh my gosh, is our bookstore going to end? It was more like, okay, how do we get through today? We decided that we were going to kind of promote our website and do curbside pickup, and we were going to do drop-offs at people's homes. And I don't know what to tell you. It was the community who really, they just immediately were concerned about our store and just started to purchase stuff from us. And it was amazing.
If I were to give advice to someone who's contemplating opening up a bookstore, it has to be built on our experience of do your homework. Find out, what is it you want to do? Why do you want to do it? Who do you want to do it for?
When we started this bookstore, we thought, first of all, we were going to have a place, we were going to have books, we were going to sell them, and introduce people to authors that they had never heard of before. What has exceeded my expectations has been really the love of the community for us, but maybe more importantly for our mission and what we're doing. I thought the bookstore was going to be mine and Henry's. I didn't realize that it was going to really become the whole community's.
Hipocampo, te queremos mucho.
Gracias, Hipocampo.
We love Hipocampo!
Thank you,
Hipocampo.
Thank you.
Okay, ready? Now you're gonna do it one time by yourself. Ready? Go.
We love Hipocampo.